everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Cue the Chat. I'm Fionn Lynch, and on this episode, we are going to be having a look at the first round of the UK Championship in the Barbican. We've also had an email from one of our listeners telling us their predictions and some of the matches that they're looking forward to. So, with that said, welcome in to episode number 8, bonus episode of Cue the Chat. So, this episode is it's a bonus episode, because the way that the qualifiers went, the first round was at a very awkward time for the podcast, because it's a Triple Crown event, so I just want to have, I want to have the preview done, and I want to talk a little bit more about the UK Championships, and we had a great set of qualifiers on Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday. The Judgment Day coverage. There's the word. The Judgment Day coverage. It was absolutely great. I enjoyed watching it very much. Judgment Day is always great. The coverage of it is always amazing. Like jumping between all the tables. That's something that I feel like they should implement a bit more. I get that there's when the event is on the TV, I get it's a bit more with advertising and all that kind of crack, when do you go to an ad break and the way the ad breaks are scheduled, I get that it's a lot more to work out for something that, a lot of hardcore snooker fans, I guess, wouldn't watch all the time because, we like watching snooker, and it is a bit gimmicky. It's fun to watch for the UK Championship and the World Championship, but I feel like, I don't know, it's just not something that maybe would do as well for a main tournament. But anyway, going off on a tangent as per usual. So we're gonna be reviewing all of the matches. But first of all, we've had an email from Lars Johansson, and he wants to clear up a couple of things that I said in the last episode, and he also has a couple of predictions for the UK Championship. So, here we go. By the way, I have to bring in a hot chocolate with me. Oh my god, the storm outside is absolutely unreal. It's a Storm Bertha or Storm Bertha or something like that. It's gonna hit down hard. So, I've got my hot chocolate. It's absolutely freezing as well. The snow has been absolutely mental. Anyway, I'm sorry, Lars. We're going to go on to your email now. You say, "Hey again, Fionn. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to follow up on the email sent to you that you read out on the last episode. First and foremost, I want to make sure that the credit for snooker.org goes to the people deserving it. Chiefly, Hermod Ardalan, who you know as the creator and main guy of the site. But secondly, also as previous and current volunteers that have been part of the efforts over the years. They deserve the credit, not me. I'm literally brand new to this and started volunteering. That's right, not a paid gig this. I'm very much still learning and getting familiar with the system." Well, it is a very good thing that you point out that there have been, like, I was listening to Dave Hendon's episode with Hermod, and yeah, there's been lots and lots of volunteers throughout the time at snooker.org, throughout the 30 years. So yeah, I would thank them as well, because like they've kept the show on the road, really. We wouldn't have snooker.org, I suppose, without those people, so we'll thank them as well. But I feel like you have discredited yourself slightly though, because you are only brand new, which you say, but it seems like it's a big gig to be taking on. With the amount of scores that go in and out of that website every single day, whether it be women's snooker or Q Tour or the professional circuit, it's going to be no tough task. So I don't envy you. It is going to be a lot of work, I should think, but good luck with it. On the other, you continue. On the other topic, Q Tour. I wish I had some awesome insight for you. Truth be told, I just started following the Q Tour this season. This thanks to another snooker podcast, Snooker Loopy. Now, I've heard you emailing in on Snooker Loopy because I'm a huge fan of the Snooker Loopy podcast. In fact, you probably know me from there as well, because I'm the guy who listened for I don't know how many hours it was to to Dominic Dale because I lost a bet. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you probably know me from there as well. But yeah, that is an excellent podcast. You go on to say they provide excellent coverage of the Q Tour during the summer break, and that got me into it. This is how I found out about guys like Zizins, Kowalski, Reves, etc., all whom I'm following closely on the main tour. Yeah, exactly. I'm the exact same, my friend. I'm the exact same. Bolshki Reves, I always keep my eye out for. I haven't seen isn't it Artemis Zizins? I think his first name's Artemis. I haven't seen Artemis Zizins even pop up. But yeah, and Kowalski as well. Yeah, I've seen him popping up a few times. But yeah, I keep a keen eye on Reves for the exact same reason as you do. You go on to say UK Championships coming up next. Some cracking first round matches ahead. I'll sorry sorry. I will focus my attention on Murphy versus Xingtong, Selby versus Lazowski, Sija Hui versus Wu Yiza, Bracel versus Jones, Judd Trump versus Robertson, and plenty of other great action too. How many qualifiers do you think will get the best of the seeds? My guess is 5. Ryan Day, Wu Yiza, He Guai Kang, Jack Jones and Michael Holt. Cheerio, Lars. Well, thank you very much for emailing in here, Lars. I still don't know how to pronounce He Guai Kang. It doesn't sound right. But anyway, yeah, we'll go through your matches one by one. Murphy and Xingtong is going to be an absolute cracker. That's probably going to end up being the match that I watch tomorrow, because isn't that the one that is coming up? It's first on with O'Sullivan and Hawkins, I think. I'm probably going to watch the first couple of frames of O'Sullivan versus Hawkins, just because that's going to have the studio coverage at the start. Then I'll probably end up switching over. Selby versus Lazowski. I like watching Lazowski. Not as big of a fan of Selby, just because he can get bogged down. Like there's people who are like, oh man, I can't watch Selby. He's slow. He's bollocks. All that kind of crack. I'm not that bad. You know, he when I started watching snooker, it was the year of his second World Championship in a row. It was 2018, I think. No, I'd definitely been watching before that, but it's my earliest kind of memory of snooker is his semi-final with Ding Junhui, and then his final with John Higgins. So after that, I was kind of following him, but you know, as he started to slip, he became less and less entertaining to watch. So I kind of stopped following him a bit, but because the way I kind of follow snooker is I kind of follow players in in blocks. So I don't have like a definitive favorite player, but like say like the last little while, anytime Aaron Hill comes on, I'm straight over watching that match. It was the same around this time a couple of years ago with Xingtong. Every time I was following him. Same with Bing Tao a couple of years ago as well. Who else have I been following recently? I don't know. There's been there has been a few players that have been like that. I tried to follow Brazil once he won the World Championship, but he wasn't in tournaments long enough for me to be following him too much. But anyway, that's a separate rant which I've definitely dived deeply into in previous podcasts. Anyway, Jia Hui versus Wu Yiza. Yeah, I mean that'll be a good game. It's not really one that I would be keeping a very close eye on, I don't think. It depends on what's going on at the same time, because I'm not actually sure. But like there's definitely, in my opinion anyway, that's definitely in my bottom half of the matches that I want to be watching. But who else do you say? Bracel versus Jones, yeah, because whatchamacallit, it's the former world champion against this year or last season's world semi-finalist. That's going to be a great game actually, because it's Jones is only just had to qualify. Like he really could have been a seed. So him against Purcell is going to be very close. And then Judd Trump versus Neil Robertson, of course. I mean, I don't think any other match is going to get much coverage at the same time as that one. I think there'll be about 3 or 4 people watching that one because everybody's going to have their eyes glued to Trump versus Robertson. And yeah. Thank you very much, Lars, for emailing in. If you'd like to email in, you can. The address is cuethechat@gmail.com. That's cuethechat@gmail.com. You can also send us a DM on Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days. You can follow us across social media. It's Cue the Chat Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. So yeah, thank you very much, Lars Johansson. Now, moving on to the draw for the not the champion of champions, the UK Championship. I've said the champion of champions so many times over the last couple of weeks that champions is stuck in my head, but it's the UK Championship. The draw was done yesterday as I record, probably the day before yesterday as you listen to it because of how late I'm actually recording it. There's some absolutely cracking matches that have been drawn out. I mean, Lars Johansson pointed out a few of them, but we're going to start with Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Barry Hawkins. I mean, what a game that is. I don't think that this year Ronnie O'Sullivan has it in him to go through and win. But I think that with the packed crowd, they've mentioned a few times during the qualifiers that the first day is sold out. With the packed crowd, with everybody behind him, I think that Ronnie O'Sullivan very much would have the edge. Because everyone's going to be cheering for him, not only because he is Ronnie O'Sullivan, but also because he's the defending champion. I mean, many of them will have watched him last year winning the championship, so even some of the people who maybe aren't as much of a Ronnie O'Sullivan stan as others, because I know there are plenty of people who are just Ronnie O'Sullivan obsessed. They're going to be following him as well because they might have seen him live in the flesh winning the UK Championship. So I've gone for a 6-4 scoreline for Ronnie O'Sullivan to beat Barry Hawkins. I don't think Ronnie's going to go all the way this week, but I think he will beat Barry Hawkins 6-4. Moving on, Xiao Guodong against Dave Gilbert. Now, Xiao Guodong has been on blistering form so far this season, but I think that his good run is going to come, maybe not to an end, but it's not going to continue through the UK Championship, because I have tipped his opponent, Dave Gilbert, to beat him in a decider 6-5. I haven't seen much of Dave Gilbert this season, which is strange because he was one of my players who a little while ago I used to follow, but I haven't seen him popping up very much. I'm going to have a look to see how he did. Whatchamacallit? Where is he on here? Dave Gilbert. He beat Julian Leclerc 6-1, so he's definitely playing well. He's the world number 22 still. Which is strange for someone who I haven't seen playing in ages and ages. But yeah, the world number 22. I think he's going to beat the world number 16, Xiao Guodong, by 6-5. Now, moving on to the match that really is after Trump Robertson is the tie of the round for me. Shaun Murphy and Zhao Xingtong. I was a big fan of Zhao Xingtong before he got suspended. And I've been a big fan of Shaun Murphy really since his podcast started, since I've been able to hear a bit more from him, maybe a bit more of his side of the story. He's been absolutely great on that podcast, so I've been following him a fair bit. But as I said last time, it was a Tuesday or Wednesday that the podcast went up, I think that Zhao Xingtong is going to go very far this week, and I haven't backed down. I've gone in all the way, 6-4, Zhao Xingtong over Shaun Murphy. Now, there's going to be a few people who are going to be thinking in their heads now, oh, Oh, sure. Zhao Xingtong hasn't been playing professional snooker in a while, and Sean Murphy's he's a veteran of snooker. How can you be tipping Zhao Xingtong against to beat Sean Murphy? But I feel like if you're saying that, you haven't seen the qualifiers this week. Zhao Xingtong has been on absolutely blistering form. So I mean, I think Zhao Xingtong is going to win that one, and I'm going to have a look at the draw in a couple of minutes just to see who he's going to be playing next. But I think that he there's not very many people on this list that he couldn't beat. So Zhao Xingtong, I've just had a look, will play the winner of our next match, and that is Ding Junhui and Robert Milkins. Now, Rob Milkins came through in I can never think of it, Judgment Day. He came through Judgment Day for the UK Championship, and he beat Jusa 6-2. So he did play very well there in that match. There was a brown in the final frame, which was absolutely sensational. If you haven't seen it, you should go and watch it. It's absolutely amazing. But I have the international championship winner Ding Junhui tipped to win this one, because Ding Junhui has proven over the last couple of weeks that he can win, which Robert Milkins, other than in these qualifiers, hasn't really done over recent times. He hasn't been in the finest of form. So yeah, I've picked Ding Junhui to win that one. There's not a whole pile to say. Ding Junhui has won a major tournament this season, and Robert Milkins has not been popping up very often. Now we move on to Mark Selby. He is playing against Jack Lazowski. Now, this is a very tight match to call. Very, very tight indeed. I've tipped Jack Lazowski purely because Jack Lazowski has been playing matches already this week, and Mark Selby hasn't been. I think that literally could be the edge that one player has of another, especially in some of these tighter matches. Yeah, I think it is going to go to a decider, and I think that Jack Lazowski is going to win it purely just because he's played he's played a couple of matches already this week. But I mean, as Lars Johansson pointed out, it's going to be a great match nonetheless. And we move on to Ali Carter versus Ryan Day. Now, if things go the way that I've predicted, Jack Lazowski is going to be playing the winner of this match, and I've tipped Ali Carter to win this one 6-4, purely just because Ali Carter is he's won a tournament this season, if I'm not mistaken. He won the Champion of Champions. I'll double check that. No, sorry, Championship League. Again, Champion of Champions. Why do I keep saying it? Championship League Snooker 2024. Yes, it was Ali Carter. So yes, I was right in saying that Ali Carter has won an event this season, and he is, as I say, is playing Ryan Day. Ryan Day, he looked to be playing okay during the week. He beat Sandro Salam 6-2 in his final qualifying match. But yeah, I think that Ali Carter is going to win this one, purely just because he's been playing the better snooker over the season. But again, it could come down some of these close matches to how many matches they've been playing in recent times. Ryan Day has been playing matches up until Thursday, so I mean it could come down to that. But I think that Ali Carter is going to win that one 6-4. Now Si Jiahui against Wu Yiza. I've tipped this one fairly heavily in Si Jiahui's favor. 6-2. I think it's going to be a pretty one-sided affair there, because Wu Yiza isn't really used to coming to the business end of major tournaments, and I mean qualifying for the UK Championship, you are in the business end of it. Really, you're in the last 32. That's, I mean, Wu Yiza number 29 would have come in round 2 or round 3. So Wu Yiza has already won a couple of matches to get here. So I just think that Si Jiahui is far the superior player, and I think that CJ Wee is going to win that one 6-2. Now, Mark Allen versus Jackson Page. That is going to be an absolutely cracking match. If it was a couple of years ago, it might have been even better because both players would have just been going hammer and tongs trying to fly anything at the pockets. But since Mark Allen has calmed down, there could be a little bit more tactics at play. But Jackson Page is such a fun player to watch, especially when he gets going, because sometimes he doesn't get going in matches. Because he just throws his arms. Because he just throws his arm sometimes at some shots, he doesn't give himself the chance to settle into matches. So I feel like if he can manage to settle in, he could give Mark Allen a hard time. But I still think that Mark Allen is going to win that one 6-4. Now the next one on my list is Judge Trumby against Neil Robertson, but I think we're going to leave that one to the end, just to create a little bit of suspense, because there's not much else keeping you around, let's be real. So we're going to move on to John Higgins versus the man whose name I can't pronounce, He Guai Kwang. He Guai Chan. I'm going to need to figure out how to pronounce this. Anyway, John Higgins is playing against himself. Against Hay. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable for John Higgins. I put it at 6-2 for John Higgins. But yeah, that's I don't have a lot to say about it. I just think John Higgins is going to win it. We're going to move on to Zhang Anda versus Lei Pei Fan. Now, Lei Pei Fan, I'm going to have a look here, but he could be the lowest ranked qualifier. Lei Pei Fan is number 83. No, Michael Holt is number 95. He's the second highest ranked qualifier. Yeah, so it's a great result for him to get through. But he's playing against Zhang Anda, and I think Zhang Anda is going to win that one 6-4. Mark Williams is playing against Stuart Bingham, another absolutely cracking game. I know I say cracking so much. I was going to say another corking game, but that makes no sense. A corker of a game. Mark Williams against Stuart Bingham. Ball run against the Welsh potting machine. I think that the potting machine is going to win that one 6-4. But it could get very interesting, especially if Stuart Bingham manages to put a bit of early pressure on Mark Williams. Because lest we forget, Stuart Bingham is a world champion. Back from 2015, he won the world championship. So I mean, he's not a low ranked player. Well, he is a low ranked player, but he's no small fry. Stuart Bingham is a big time player. So if he gets off to a good start, he could beat Mark Williams. But at the moment, I have him tipped to come second best in that one, 6-4 to Mark Williams. Now, Luca Bracella versus Jack Jones, another one that Lars pointed out. This one, I think, is going to go the way of Jack Jones. Luca Bracella, not putting in the hours, not putting in the work, not putting in the effort. Jack Jones has been in all of the big tournaments recently, and he's not doing too badly. So I think that Jack Jones will win that one, 6-4. Purely because Luca Bracella, man, unless you've been putting in the hours, you've been getting off the bike for the triathlon and getting on at the practice table, I think that Jack Jones is going to beat you, my friend. But yeah, 6-4, Jack Jones. Gary Wilson, he's playing against Michael Holt. Now, this is kind of one of my wildcard predictions. I think that the lowest ranked man in the draw, Michael Holt, is going to beat Gary Wilson. Because Gary Wilson has done nothing this season. He doesn't tend to do much other than the Scottish Open and sometimes the Welsh Open, apparently. Yeah, I think, it's going to go to a decider. It's going to be 6-5. But I think that Michael Holt is going to make it through to the second round of the UK Championship. Now we move on to Chris Wakelin against Matt Selt. I think Chris Wakelin is going to have the edge over Matt Selt here. It's not going to be a game I'm going to be watching. To be honest, there's so many great games that are going to be on during the week, and I think that this is probably the worst of of all the matches, to be honest. I'm not going to be watching it. 6-4 Chris Wakelin is what I've gone for, just purely because Matt Selt is not a man that I've seen very much of this season. Neither have I seen much of Chris Wakelin. Oh no, I lie. I was the English Open. Chris Wakelin did pretty well in, if I remember correctly. It might not have been that tournament, but he certainly went far in one of the tournaments this season. So I think Chris Wakelin's going to do it, and it pains me to say with the last match, Karen Wilson versus Stephen Maguire. I think Karen Wilson is going to win this one 6-3. Big fan of Stephen Maguire. I think he's absolutely unreal to watch. Karen Wilson, though, has looked unstoppable all season long, so I don't think there's going to be much that Stephen Maguire can do about that one. But just drop something. A sharpener for my darts, actually. I don't know if you could hear it. Anyway, yeah, Karen Wilson 6-3, boom bash, balabam. I think it's a pretty slam dunk win for Karen Wilson, which is disappointing. I have it 6-3. I hope it goes closer, but yeah, Karen Wilson for the win there, I think. Now, the match you've all been waiting for. Judd Trump against Neil Robertson. The match that when the draw was made on Thursday afternoon, we were all hoping for, because Neil Robertson still hadn't qualified. But Neil Robertson has won their last meeting, and the champion of champions. I can finally say the champion of champions. But I think that this week, Judd Trump is going to beat Neil Robertson by 6 frames to 5. I mean, Judd Trump not only is currently the man in better form, but he's also going to be looking for a little bit of revenge this week, because he's not a man that takes defeat lightly, especially not against an old rival like Neil Robertson. And I mean, he's definitely been the player of the season by far. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I've nothing more to say really. I think that Judd Trump is going to win that one, because he's got a point to prove now that there's a little blotch on his record against Neil Robertson. He's got a little bit of a point to prove. So those are my predictions for the UK Championship 2024, last 32, the first round at the Barbican. This podcast has gone on a lot longer than I thought it would. I mean, I know I'm reviewing 16 matches and doing an email, but I don't know why, but I didn't think it would take this long. You know, my final preview podcasts are like 10 minutes long. I thought this was going to be one of those ones, but nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to follow, rate, review, subscribe, hit the notification bell, turn on automatic downloads on Spotify. You can comment on Spotify and YouTube. There's not many more things I can tell you to do. You can email in. You can follow us on socials. We post a new clip every single day. And if you email in, you might make it onto one of those social clips. It's cuethechat@gmail.com for emails, and cue the chat pod on social media. So we're going to see you during the week for our usual between Monday and Wednesday slot. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the UK Championship. I hope your favourite player gets through, and we will see you next time. Adios.